Hello and welcome back. This is episode 23 of my vlog series about creating the art for a 2D video game. And I did not have as much done this week as I was really hoping to have for this episode. So last week, I remember I showed you the footage of drawing the big manor house, and I talked about how I was working on the furniture to go inside the manor house. And I was really hoping to have it done this week. And I think I would have. I think that was a reasonable goal. Like, I think I would have had it done. But I have children, but specifically one child. And it's really not her fault, actually. Bless her little heart. She had her first year checkup and her shots, at the doctor's office, like, last week. And her doctor told me that there was a possibility that, like, 8 to 10 days after she had her shot, she would come down with a fever and not be feeling very well. Well, of course, 8 to 10 days later, she did. She came down with a fever this week, and for about 2-3 days just was, like, not feeling good. And she was just, like, so cranky and so needy, and I pretty much packed her around for, like, 3 days straight, and it was just working in little, like, 15-minute increments when I could squeeze in the time, because she was, like I said, really fussy, and she didn't want to be put down. She just needed her mommy, and that's okay. So I pretty much spent, like, at least 3 days just with her, and then the last couple of days she's still been just a bit fussy and needy, but I'm kind of starting to wonder if there's some teeth coming in. At least that's like my go-to excuse whenever my kids are just, like, off. I'm like, well, they must be getting teeth. So anyway, all of that is to say, I didn't quite finish, but I got close. Let me pick you up really quick. I'm going to show you my screen. We'll see how this looks. Okay, so I don't know how well you can see that. I guess there's a bit of a glare on the screen, and it might be a little bit pixelated, but as you can see, I finished coloring a whole bunch of furniture, and I finished that up, like 10:30 last night, maybe, finished coloring everything. But there's a few things I still need to do. One of them, as you can see this frame right here, it's going to be a great big picture frame that's going to go, like, in the drawing room of the manor. And I actually need to draw the portrait inside of it. So right now it's just an empty frame, but eventually there'll be, like, a big family portrait in there. And so I still need to do that bit. And then the other thing I need to do is shade everything. And that, thankfully, won't take too long. I pretty much just do, like, flat layers of flat shadow layer. It's just like a blue color that I just put over everything, so it's not like rendering, so to speak. I mean, it just gives everything a little bit more dimension and pop. But that's really the only thing I have left to do, and then I can mock this up and actually design the interior of the manor house. So I really thought I was going to have that done this week, and I probably would have, but life happens. So anyway, hopefully that'll be next week's video. But I don't know if you remember, if you were watching last week's video, I made a promise that if I did not finish doing the furniture for this video, I would show you giant rats instead. So, of course, I have to honor my promise. And so this week, you get to see the giant rats that I am, like, ridiculously excited about. So I'm going to show you, they really didn't take very long to draw. So I'm going to show you the footage, the drawing footage. It takes, sped up, it's all of about 3-4 minutes. And then you get to see the rats actually in-game, which is super exciting. So hold tight and I will switch over to my screen and I will show you what I've got. So I'd be interested to hear if anybody else out there had pet rats as a kid, because I definitely did. So I actually really like rats. I had them all when I was growing up. I almost always had a pair of them just in my bedroom. And funny enough, when I got married, and my husband and I were living in our first apartment, and we were just, very poor students and hardly had any money, certainly didn't have enough money for something like a dog or a cat. I was trying to convince my husband that we really needed a pet rat. And he was just grossed out because he'd spent 2 years in Brazil, and they had these giant sewer rats, that would get into their house and get into their food. And would eat their goodies that their parents would send them from home and things like that. And so he just thought that was the nastiest thing he'd ever heard. So, of course, me being me, one day when he was at work, I think it was close to my birthday or just after my birthday. So that was my justification, it was my birthday present. We lived really close to a Petco, like within walking distance. And so I went over to Petco And I picked out a little baby rat and a cage, and I brought it home, and I just didn't say anything until he got home, and he noticed there was this little baby rat in our apartment, in our living room. And it was so funny because I was just waiting for his reaction to be totally grossed out, but he kind of looked at her and he's like, "But I thought you said rats do better in pairs." And I was like, "Well, they do, but I didn't want to push my luck. I thought bringing home one rat without, discussing it first was bad enough." He said, "Well, then we need to go back to the pet store and pick out another one." So that's what we did that evening. We went back to the pet store, and then he picked one out, and he was totally smitten. Like, he picked out a little black one. Her name was Sadie, and she was like the biggest troublemaker you have ever seen. She would get into stuff. She would steal our money. Like, she stole like $1 from me and hid it in our mattress. She had a lot of personality, we'll put it that way. But he absolutely loved her, would wander around the house with her on his shoulder, and she was his absolute favorite. So I managed to convert somebody to be a rat lover, a non-believer to a believer, and I am very proud of that. But anyway, so all of that is to say, now I am including them in this game, although I was having a really hard time. I know I've mentioned this in a previous video, but figuring out how cute they should be, because, I really like rats, but I didn't really want to, butcher super cute ones. And so, my first pass, as you've already seen, of course, was a really ugly, sort of bony, mangy sort of rat, which I thought would help you, kind of overcome any emotional attachment you might have to this animal and just, kill it. But eventually, cooler heads prevailed. I talked to my brothers. I think they should be at least a little bit cuter. Kind of super fat, little, almost like a cow version of a rat, just fat and docile. And so that's what I ended up going back and doing. So in the end, we have these really chubby rats that I actually really love them. I think they're gonna be my favorite animal. Even when we have dragons and other cooler stuff, I think rats will always be my favorite. And at some point I am going to be doing more color and pattern variations for the rats. So right now we've just got gray ones. I mean, they start out as these little naked pinkies, and then they turn into, these big fat gray rats. But I think it would be cool, if for no other reason than just having more variety. I want to do more colors, so probably some that are solid colored, so we could have white, black, brown, whatever. But I think it would be fun to do some with different patterns too. Ones with different patches, or like at the pet store you see the rats with the hood, the black hood, that sort of thing. So that all should be coming. And maybe I've even thought it'd be fun to do I don't see why we couldn't do fun colors. I mean, this is our game. So, pink rats or green rats or blue rats. And especially, I think, if a player wanted to have one of the rats and just basically keep it as a pet, as opposed to a food source, it would be nice if there were some unique ones, or more unique ones available that they could sort of claim, oh, this one's my favorite, I won't kill this one, I'm just going to keep this one. Which is probably, honestly, what I will be doing once the game is all done. I'm sure I will have a favorite rat that I just keep for the sake of having it. Alright, here we are back in our kingdom once again, and right here is one of the giant rats. And if you were wondering, just how giant are the giant rats? Well, this is a baby cow, so that should give you an idea of scale. They are bigger than the baby cows, but smaller than the full-grown cows, which I would show you, except that in order to make room for our new fuzzy friends, I actually butchered all of my cows except for that baby one right there. I don't believe in killing baby things, so our baby cow is still here, but here's another one of my giant rats, and around here somewhere I have a little baby pink one. We'll see if we can find him. But I also wanted to show you, because of course this is hilarious, you can turn your rats into rat meat. Look at this. So this is a rat steak, which is vaguely rat shaped. It even has a tail. And it says, "A raw slab of meat that is quite vile but can be a meal in a pinch." So we are going to make ourselves some rat meat, and I've already got my peasant here assigned, so I'm going to go ahead. Both of my rats are miserable. I don't know why. They just are unhappy creatures for some reason. Let's see, who should we kill? You know what? You're first on the list. We're going to kill you. Alright, you'll see your rat made into rat meat. Oh, and meanwhile, looky here, there's one of my little pinkies. How cute is that? I mean, seriously. Poor little naked thing. Oh, alright. Here she comes. She's gonna... Oh, she's got him lassoed. She's taking him to the chopping block. I actually just got these rats, so I'm not quite as emotionally attached to them as I would, I think, otherwise be. But the rats are just like any of your other animals. You know, you can brush them. You cannot milk them. You cannot milk your rats, but you can brush them and show them love that way. And yes, they do produce muck. So they're just like cows in that regard. All right, here we go. Almost done. So close. So close. Ding! There it goes. Our little rat steak just came down the conveyor belt. Here we go. She's gonna put it in our larder. I can pull it out, or I could if I had room in my inventory. Oh, yep, I do. Here we go. Alright, I'm gonna hold it. There you go. I'm holding my little rat steak, which is, like I said, vaguely rat-shaped with a tail. So it's kind of vile. Let's see. Go ahead and eat it. Oh, so delicious. Raw rat meat. It just, like, makes the body grow strong. So anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed this little demo and have enjoyed seeing our little fuzzy friends. Oh, there's the little pink one again. I love you so much. Oh, this one's my new favorite. Oh, he'll probably end up as rat steak too, but right now he's my favorite. But anyway, so like I said, next week, maybe next week, I will finally have all that furniture done because it's taken like 3 weeks and I'm getting a little antsy. So hopefully I'll have all of that done and you will get to see that process all finished. But until then, I hope you enjoy the rest of your week and I will see you next Friday.